So give yourselves a woo. Woo! Oh, y'all are good. But you gotta get the hands going too. So, okay, will you do it again? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo! All righty, and a woo to everybody out there this morning. Hi, Lisa. Oh no, are you frozen? I hope we're not going to start with that today. Okay, I don't know if y'all see that she's frozen, but I think on my side it looks like she is. So she'll probably float back in. And we never know, is it coming from my end or her end? Or
I don't know if we're having technical difficulties or not again, but welcome if anybody can hear me. Hi, Delinda.
Yes. So, hey there. Yeah, I think you were frozen there for a minute. And Alicia says, hey, mommy, she's frozen. So, good morning, everybody. I am glad to be back. I'm not sure if Lisa's going to hear me say this, but I've told her personally myself. So, want to thank her for being here. Last week, we were in Kansas City looking at houses, and actually, we had a real estate appointment that morning because in Kansas City it's 9:30. So, y'all are much easier for you guys, which I'll be there. By I would say the show's probably the last week of July. The show will be coming from Kansas City. That's where I'll be, but we'll still be on our same time schedule. Yeah, 6 years at 7:30 out here in Vegas, 7:30 in the morning. So the 9:30 time will be a little easier for me, as a matter of fact. So good morning, Alicia. Good morning. Hey there, Miss Kathy. Woohoo to you too. So glad to see you. Thank you for my water fill up while I was there. The Haven't really connected with too many other people at the moment, just because in the house hunting and all that, it just takes so much time of setting up appointments and all that stuff. Just haven't reached out to y'all yet, but don't worry, I will be and get reconnected with all of you. So, Lisa, are you back? Can we hear you?
I think so.
Yeah, you are. So I really appreciate so much you doing that. I was explaining that, with me looking at houses and traveling and stuff last week, it was so nice that you were able to step in and do that for me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You're awesome.
Well, thank you, but I'm always glad when you're back.
Well, thanks. Ursula Sims' girlfriend. Hi there. So you heard I'm coming back to Kansas City, and you and I definitely need to hook back up. So Ursula and I are great friends, and she was in Mary Kay with me. So it'd be great to reconnect on that end. So we are glad to be home. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to kind of let y'all know kind of where we are. So we did find a house the last day. We actually stayed 2 extra days because the market is so strong. We made an offer on one house and it got outbid by 40 grand. Now, that is obscene. So over list price. So we went out looking. Like I said, we stayed an extra couple of days, and we did find a house in Lee Summit. So we're excited about that and getting all those things lined up. And we got back and our car was ready because if y'all have watched or had noticed on Facebook where I was telling all just kind of a crazy thing, right as we were leaving town, the engine light goes on. We go to the car dealer. They say, you got to get this fixed. Went and rented a car to leave the next day. But the car was great. We had a brand new car. I can't even remember what the name of it was. SUV, midsize SUV kind of thing. And the price was amazing. I couldn't believe it because rental prices have been so high. I don't know if y'all have noticed if you do much renting of cars, but since the pandemic, the car dealers during that time, the car rental places sold off like half their inventory because during the pandemic, nobody was traveling and in order to just survive, that was part of their plan. So they're back in more moderate range now. So that was great. So we got back and the car was ready and we turned in the rental car and now we're just home and it feels so good. There's just, Dorothy was right. There's just no place like home. I don't care where it is, wherever home is home. Right. I see you shaking your head, Lisa. I know that you know what that feels like too. I think everybody understands that.
Yeah. No, I love it. My place is home. I'm a homebody, cave dweller. you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I have this crazy thing that I do. I have to clean. It's weird. But when I come back from being out of town, whether it's for 2 days or, 10, 12 days like we were gone this last time, um, I have to come in and wipe down the cabinets and make sure there's no bad food in the refrigerator. And because something, it's a nesting kind of thing. I come home and I'm reclaiming my space, is what I think it is. I don't know what the psychology of that is, but um, I realized that early on. It is just a thing that just kind of makes me, and it just grounds me. It just grounds me to do that. So we'll be, moving on to Kansas City and finding what next place that, I mean, we know the place, but we know what that's going to be all about. So that is what's going on here. So we're back, and let's see, Alicia's there, and Benjamin from Uganda watching. Wow, that is exciting. So thank you and welcome. I think this is your first time to join us. We like that. Oh, Ursula, you're a realtor, definitely a market out there. Yes, and I don't know that I realized or remembered that you were an agent out there. So, all right. Well, Lisa, we're going to talk about a fun topic because you and I talk about abundant thinking, and we talk about having dreams and all of that. So today, and this, you're the one who brought it up when we were chatting yesterday. What does that mean? We've heard that all. I grew up with it. Well, I see Lisa went out on us. She'll be back. So is the sky's the limit. So we've all heard that. And so what does that really mean? The sky is the limit. And I think sometimes it's easy to get into the thinking that the sky is not the limit, to thinking that we are limited, that we can only go so far. We can only do so much. We are the ones, y'all, just important for you to realize is that we are the ones that set our own limits. We either listen to other people who want to set those limits around us. And that's very often. So it could be from your parents, from your childhood. It could be from a teacher or teachers as you were going through school. Could be a boss who just says, you're never going to get there, or who do you think you are? That's one that thing of that, who do you think you are, that I've heard a lot of women say through the years that, people have said to them that, that they're going for big dreams. Well, who do you think you are? Like, well, I'll use my Mary Kay example. Who do you think you are to have, to think you can drive a pink Cadillac, or who do you think you are to be a national sales director, or, who do you think you are? Well, who do you think you are? I now have the greatest answer for that. I'm a child of God, and I can do anything he enables me to do because he lives through us, and he will give us the strength and the power and the knowledge and the discernment, whatever it is we need to accomplish these big goals and these big dreams that he has given us. When you have that dream in your heart, that goal, that's something that you desire or feel compelled to do, that's not there by accident. God's the one who plants it in there. When he says, I will give you the desires of your heart, I believe by studying other scriptures around that means that he plants it. I will give you the desires, meaning he will give us that desire and lead us to these big dreams and things he wants for us. And if I get the scripture right, John 10, I think it's John 10:10 that says, I have come that you can have life and have it in abundance. So God is not a small thinker. And so we shouldn't either. We just accept. It's easy to just accept ordinary. It's easy to just accept that, things are just the way they are. So oftentimes we do have to start where we are. So wherever you are, and I'm not talking about just money. It can be money, financial dreams. It could be stuff, cars or houses or whatever that looks like for you. It could be certain success in your business. But it's also about, the sky is the limit in far as having a beautiful, wonderful, loving relationship in your life. If you're not married or not with someone right now in a relationship, you can have that. It's really setting our minds on and believing that we can, because as sure as you start thinking you cannot, then you're right. I think it was him. I'm not sure again if it was, but I think it was Henry Ford that said, if you say you can, or if you say you can't, either way, you're right. Some semblance of that. So I'm not sure exactly the wording on that. But if you believe you can't, if you say, I can't do that, then you're right. You can't. Because as long as you tell yourself you can't, you won't be able to, and you can't do it. However, if you say you can, then you're programming your brain. My kind of theme and my speech, my latest speech for the year. I kind of do a new theme every year for my speaking topics. It's called "Take the Girdle Off Your Brain." So imagine having that girdle on your brain, and when you take that girdle off, it lets out all that negativity, all that doubt, that self-doubt that we have, and all those negative thoughts. So we actually can be open to accepting the blessings that are out there for us. And so that's when the sky is the limit. This expanse of the sky, when you think about the sky kind of just goes on forever, right? So if the sky is your limit, then really there is no limit, because the sky is limitless. So as is our God, who is limitless and created it all to begin with. So let me ask you a question. If money were no object, I love this question, because oftentimes, let's just be real, money is important in order to live in our world, to live in our society. It takes money. It takes money to buy a house. It takes money to buy groceries, which keep going up. I've been out more. So Bill and I, because for these last months, y'all know that, Bill, who is semi-retired now, he does almost all of the cooking, and he goes to the grocery store. I am a blessed woman, because I hate going to the grocery store, but he goes to the grocery store and all that. So he's been noticing the prices. So this last 2 weeks, we've been out and we've gone to the grocery store, and we've traveled and eaten in restaurants and all that kind of stuff, which takes additional money, I might add. But everything is so much higher, and I hadn't paid attention to it as much because I hadn't been out going to the store. So I would be saying, "Can you believe this?" And he says, "Yeah, Delinda, it's been that way. That's what's been happening." So, yeah, Ursula, go Bill. It's like woohoo. Yeah, we're going to be married 45 years this year. I can hardly believe it. I thought it was still like 44, but anyway, 45 years. I can't believe it. I just, it blows me away. So, Lisa, welcome back.
Yeah, I finally just restarted the computer. That always works. Alt Control Delete.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It is weird. If something's not working after a few times, turn it off and start over, right?
Yes.
So we were just talking a little bit. I guess I was doing my little mini sermon on, just trusting in that, that with the sky being the limit, and our God is limitless, that as we believe we can, if we believe we can, we can. Again, if you believe you can't, then you're already defeated, because you've already told yourself you can't, and you're not going to make it. So, but when we were talking about that and just starting to hit on the subject, what do you think about that? The sky is the limit. What do we? How do we hold ourselves back? Because I believe it's that we are the ones that hold ourselves back.
Well, I mean, I think sometimes it comes down to how faith works, in the sense that if we frame it up just like the scriptures say, we're doing like what our Heavenly Father has set an example, or like Christ. And he framed up the world, first. So he thought it was possible, and then created them. So, I mean, there's the template.
Right. So I was just getting ready to ask the question. So, and I would love y'all to answer out there. If money were no object, and again, I was saying, money runs the world. We do have to have money to live and to eat, and prices are going up and all that stuff. So if you could just take yourself into that inner space and just think, if money were no object, if you could not fail, if there was a path that you could not fail and money were no object, what would you do? What is that heart's desire? What would you do? And I would love it if y'all would, put it in the box over there. What is the one thing you would love to do if money was no object and there were no parameters around you? So what would your answer be, Lisa?
Well, money's not the thing that holds me back. It's actually energy for me. Sometimes not having enough energy. So I have to think about the fact that I'm able to change that as well. Though sometimes there are barriers that hold us back that seem unchangeable. But there's not anything that we can't get around given the time and ability to look at it from different viewpoints and to pull different things in. I've seen people do all kinds of miraculous things um, through different devices. So, like sometimes money may be the issue, but then can you find it for free? If so, the mindset helps us open up our mind to seeing possibilities that I think we wouldn't see if we were putting those glasses of doubt over our eyes. So, when we have the doubt over our eyes or we think that it's not possible, then as you're looking around, you don't see things that are right in front of your face.
Absolutely. It's kind of that, and I know you'll know what the real name of that is, but once you, let's say you start looking for SUVs, you're going to buy a new car. All of a sudden, that's all you see are different types of SUVs, right?
Right.
And there's
So,
something. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, when you're problem solving, it's like if you're only thinking that, say, $100 or a raise in your work is going to solve your problem to get you out of your rut, then that's all you're going to look for. But if you look, or if you think that God could hang dollars in trees, then and you're walking through the park and all of a sudden you see $1 hanging in the tree, the reason you saw it is because you opened your mind to the possibility.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that takes me right to the parking place. you know,
Exactly.
I always drive to the front because there is going to be a front row parking spot. And we had that happen. It was so funny though, on this trip so many times. And well, the weekend before we left here, we went to my mother's and we went to this little restaurant and the parking lot was all crowded. And so Bill said, well, I'll just drop you girls off here and then I'll go find a parking. And I said, well, there's going to be one right up front here. And sure enough, I mean, God is so good. I don't know why he does that, but I'm just saying he just gives me a front row parking spot. And I always look for it and I'm always grateful for it. So when we look for just what you're saying, Lisa, when we look for those opportunities, if we really can believe that there are no limits, that the sky is the limit, because the sky is the limit and the sky is limitless, just goes on and on for infinity, then that gives you hope. That gives you reason to look for those other answers. It helps you to be open to the possibilities because when we're going through life with this, I'll take my hands so show. When we're going through life with our hands open and our heart open from this open stance, we can receive more. And I think so often we close ourselves in. Well, that's, I'm not good enough, or that's never going to happen to me, or that's great for her, but that doesn't work for me. When we're always looking at the can'ts and the what's wrong or why not, I mean, the negative side, then we're never going to find it. But if we can just allow ourselves, again, take the girdle off the brain, get rid of the negative thinking, and really think about that. That's pretty exciting to think the sky is the limit. You can do whatever it is that you want and have the life that you want, which it is many things: joy, happiness, relationships, family, whatever that looks like for you. And how about in all of the categories?
Yeah. And like I said, we think of the constructs of money and time being the major ones that we have to work around. But for me, a lot of it was self-esteem, having to work around self-esteem issues where I didn't think that I deserved what I was wishing for. And that's a mindset that then you can, as you invest in yourself, building your self-esteem, and like Ursula Sims said, get a coach, do some things to move forward, or ask what you need to do to improve. But you can develop better self-esteem if you work towards it, and those are things that like you teach abundance. God wants to give us an abundance. And the funny thing is, the more that I've known that and I've listened to that, I see the front row abundance parking spots, more and
Right.
more.
And and a lot of it is, and I always appreciate you sharing about yourself personally, because it is, and so often it is those things that we grew up believing about ourselves because other people told us, or whatever that looks like. And we have to look at it, and that's where really a coach does come in. I do coaching myself. Lisa does. And all of us who are coaches have all had or have now coaches, because sometimes we can only get so far in our own thoughts, and we need somebody to help us break through our own thoughts to so we can step into that next level, that rise up to that next level, and really believing that that you're worth the investment. I'm not trying to sell coaching here. I'm just trying to help you guys realize that if you want it all, Mary Kay wrote the book, You Can Have It All, because she really believed that, and she wanted to provide a way for other women to have it all, to be able to have a family and have a career and support her family, because she was a single mom. So there's so many, and we have so many examples, in our culture and in our history of people, men and women, but particularly women who have done those things that other people said were impossible, but they just didn't accept that. They just realized, no,
Mhm.
there is more. And for each of you, there is, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's a business, from a business perspective, or through, your personal things. Yeah, Kathy, and I appreciate you sharing that. I know you are living your dream. You're traveling, you train, and I think being grateful and giving credit to where it comes from, because you're right, Jesus gave it all. He gives all of us the bless. He gives all the blessings. But are we going to be grateful? Are we going to take him? Or are we going to just say, well, no, he must not have that for me. I'm not good enough. But yeah, you
Mhm.
are. He makes us good enough, right? So it's accepting the beautiful person that God created you to be, and to accept the blessings and the thing he has in store. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to do some work, because trust me, self work, working on yourself is hard. And we have to
Yeah.
face up to things we don't want to face up to sometimes. But to get to the next level takes some time and takes energy. So, and I think you made a good point too, Lisa, when you're talking about what holds you back, oftentimes is energy, because of your health things that you have. And I think it's important to look at that. So really being honest with yourself about what is it? Is it a lack of belief? Is it a self-esteem issue? Is it, do you have some health issues? Now, just because you have them doesn't mean that you can just give up and do nothing, right, Lisa? It just means you have
Yeah.
to make, right? And that's what I've
Yeah.
really seen you do over these years. I think um, learning to manage whatever it is that you're up against, right? In that, what had made the big change for you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and this is my struggle to myself, but because thalassemia, which is the genetic disorder that I have, is it drains you because you're constantly having to remake blood all the time that normal people don't. So, like my body's kind of consuming about 3 times the nutrient levels that other people. So I juice and I do other things. But before I discovered all that, I spent a couple of years bedridden, but while I was bedridden, which seemed, I mean, the edge of that being bedridden seemed endless. It seemed impossible to surmount. And so you start to get down about that. But then I thought, well, that's just dumb. I'm not going to live my life that way. I don't care what the doctors have said. And so I took myself off. I don't know whether this is just attitude problem or what, but I took myself off of the medicine and I really started doing a deep dive more into natural medicine. I'd already been into natural medicine before, but really a deep dive and discovered how to get myself recouped. That was a year and a half journey to get myself back up to where I could, function well. And now I live a pretty heavy regimen keeping myself healthy. And, I've had people say to me, well, if you had enough faith, you'd just be healed by God. And just because when you're reaching for the sky as the limit does not mean that God just hands you the answer and the blank check and you write out whatever you want immediately. Sometimes, the process of learning takes time. And yeah, maybe I could be healed because I don't have enough faith to be healed, but I don't really think that's the area. I think God has the ability to do all kinds of things. And there's scriptural templates that show that God did not heal everybody just because they had faith, like Paul. And who all throughout his life said the same thing. So when God gives us obstacles, it's usually to help our inner growth. So when we're reaching for that sky, don't be depressed by the obstacles. Think of them as ways to grow and to get to the other things. And there's so many things that I've learned that have brought me to new areas and new heights, really, as I've reached for the sky and tried to get myself better. I'm now a morning person. I mean, I struggled with that. But I get up. I was awake at 5:30 this morning. That's really strange.
Yeah, a couple of
But
years
now I'm
ago,
a
that
morning
wasn't
person.
the
That's
case.
something I've been working on. So eventually you can read.
Okay, I think she left. And I say, Kathy says, sometimes our challenges allow us to be examples to others of His grace, and I think that's very true. We are all examples every day. People are watching us, how we live our lives, how we respond to the things that happen around us, and just sometimes we're showing other people how to live that. How to walk in faith. What does that mean? Doesn't mean you're not going to have any challenges. I mean, certainly look at Jesus himself. At every turn, they were again, and ultimately wound up crucifying him because he thought differently and he was bringing change. And as you go through these things, there are going to be. I think it's in James where it says, think on this when you're going through trials and tribulations. It doesn't say if you do, it says when you do. So that's part of what life is, the journey that we have. And as you are reaching for your dreams and, thinking about the sky is the limit, when you encounter those, use each of those to take you to the next level, to help you learn whatever. There may be a lesson, there may be just a new way of doing things. There's so much that we have to learn. And as long as we're living, we need to keep learning, because otherwise you're going to stagnate and I think you're going to die. I mean, if you're not growing and learning, then what kind of is your purpose? What are we here for if we're not here to make a difference in people's lives and to grow and to learn from each other and share what we learn? Is all part of, I think, of that journey. So I'm sorry that Lisa's having some technical issues there. And we are at the top of the hour. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh, now there you are on a different screen. Haha, you're back.
Yeah, I'm multiplying my influence.
There you go. So anyways, well, we're at the top of the hour. What last things would you like to share about our discussion this morning about the whole sky is the limit?
Just know that God gives good gifts. I think that, you've taught me that, the abundance thing. And if the abundance is intended to be part of the plan, then why not reach for it?
Right on. That's great. That's great. I think, if you believe that it's there, we do so much damage to ourselves in this space up here. So, and you are in control of that. We may not be in control of a lot. We can't control the prices. We can't control society. We can't control all that stuff that's happening in the world, at least not today. We can do it step by step and gradual and all that. But we can change how we think. We can become more positive thinkers. We can decide that, yeah, God gives us the grace, God gives us the gifts, let's use them. I want it all. It's like, okay, Lord, any blessing that you have for me, I'm happy to take it. I will do it. And I'll share the whatever, the wealth of joy, the wealth of happiness, money, whatever it is. Having the blessing and being able to share it just adds to the joy. And so just be open. And if you find yourself not being, if you find yourself like, maybe I need to kind of think about that, spend some time thinking and spend some time with yourself and ask the Lord for discernment to show you maybe the ways that you're holding yourself back because you just don't believe it. How can you increase your belief? Because that's where, your mental thoughts and your belief system. So, all righty, guys. Well, I am so glad to be back with you, Lisa. Great to see you this morning. When we talked, it's been almost 2 weeks, I think, since we had talked. It's like, oh my gosh, we usually talk every day. So, just crazy. So, everybody, remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. And I may choose to do something, but from right now, we're just going to keep choosing to be here every Tuesday morning. And I love it that you're choosing. Oh, Ursula, thank you. I'm glad that you were able to get on this morning. So reach out, girlfriend. We'll chat and catch up. So everybody, again, you do have the choice. Choose to believe that the sky is the limit. Choose to believe that there are no limits. When you're going for what God has for you, when you're going for that dream that he's placed in your heart, you just have to open your mind, believe it, and take one step at a time to get where it is. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here and see you next week. Bye now.